Tonight, locked up. The stepmother of Willow Dunn now behind bars. She was led away in cuffs today as police charged her with the little girl's murder. The recession we couldn't avoid. Australia's economy takes a massive hit, sending the nation into a grim downturn that's only set to get worse. A dark day at the White House with fresh violence raging right now in Washington and all across America. Boats ablaze, luxury vessels go up in flames on the Gold Coast. Now the manhunt for two suspected petrol bombers. And cheap flights set to take off to the tropical north. How the tourism drive could land you super holiday deals.
This is 10 News First Queensland with Georgina Lewis.
Good evening. It was a scene that shocked even the most hardened police officers. A 4-year-old girl left to starve in her cot, allegedly at the hands of her father. 9 days after Willow Dunn was found dead by authorities, her stepmother is now also accused of her murder. Samantha Butler joins us now. Sam, police made the breakthrough today.
Georgie, police have charged Shannon Lee White with 1 count of murder. The 43-year-old was arrested earlier today and driven from Morningside Police Station to the Brisbane Watch House. She's accused of doing nothing to save little Willow, who was found dead in her cot at her Cannon Hill home last Monday. Her body showed signs of serious malnourishment and mistreatment. 25 detectives have worked tirelessly on Willow's case over the past week. Now their investigation has expanded across the border down into New South Wales and into South Australia.
We know that members of Willow's family relocated from Adelaide to Brisbane in 2017, and we believe that there is value in identifying potential witnesses in South Australia.
Georgie Shannon White will remain behind bars after her case was briefly mentioned this afternoon. Her case will return to court in July alongside her co-accused, Willow's father, Mark Dunn.
Thank you, Sam, with that update. We received the grim confirmation today Australia's economy is in recession. The summer bushfires have delivered a quarter of negative economic growth, and the COVID emergency will deliver another body blow before the end of winter.
Paul Keating gave us
the recession that Australia had to have.
This is the one we couldn't avoid.
This was the economists' version of Armageddon. The impact on the economy has been very severe.
GDP falling by 0.3% in the first quarter of the year, off the back of catastrophic bushfires and the early stages of the coronavirus.
We were on track to deliver a surplus even after the bushfires.
We are 2/3 of the way into the second quarter's results for the months of April, May and June, which will be even worse than today's numbers.
The answer to that is yes, and that is on the basis of the advice that I have from the Treasury Department about where the June quarter is expected to be.
Confirming that Australia is in recession for the first time since 1991.
Hundreds of thousands of jobs have already been sacrificed to the first recession in 29 years.
The task now, to avoid a recession turning into a depression.
There will be some difficult days ahead.
Today's numbers also suggest the promised budget surplus for the 2019-20 financial year was already in doubt, even before the pandemic struck.
While the pandemic came without warning, long-standing weakness in the economy did not.
The government had hoped to be handing down the first surplus in 12 years. Instead, we're in recession for the first time in 29 years. Their hope to get out of it is industrial relations reform, with the minister meeting with union officials here in Sydney today. The aim is to find a way to build consensus towards workplace rights and conditions conducive to an economic recovery.
But I would say it was a very positive and optimistic start.
Peter Van Onselen joins us now. Peter, is there any way of knowing how long this economic suffering will last?
Not really, the reason being that we don't know yet how deep this recession that we're in is going to be. There is still the prospect that it becomes a depression, and that would mean it's going to last for many, many years. But there are three things that the government really needs to do to get out of this. One of them is industrial relations reform. That's why Christian Porter, the minister, was meeting with union leaders here in Sydney today. The second thing is about getting unemployment down, but we know it's going to go up for quite a while yet before it becomes lower. It hasn't even hit double digits yet. And the third thing that they have to do is find a way to boost productivity. But that comes back to the issue of industrial relations reform. So a long road ahead. How long, however, is anybody's guess.
Thank you, Peter, in Sydney. To the situation in America now, and tensions have flared again in Washington in just the past few hours as race-inspired unrest enters a 9th day across America. Not even the president's threatened military crackdown has scared anyone off. In fact, it only seems to have encouraged more protesters. Eamon Ashton-Atkinson joins us from Washington. Eamon, there's been a few late clashes close to the White House.
Yes, Georgie, just in the past hour or so, after a very peaceful day here outside the White House, we've seen some agitators come down to the fence perimeter there. They started to try to push it over, and of course they were met with resistance from the military police on the other side. They were pepper sprayed and they released some flashbangs, and I think this is a big part of the overall problem. You have thousands of legitimate protesters coming out in the day to express their views on the systemic racial problems here and the death of George Floyd, but then their narrative is being hijacked by the looters and the rioters by night. And as law and order struggle to deal with the situation on the ground, and as the president threatens to unleash the military on them, the legitimate protesters see that as a threat against them.
The White House is now the flashpoint for black despair and desperation.
We're tired of being peaceful. We're tired of saying stop killing us.
As if threatening to flood these streets with troops isn't enough, President Trump has now erected an extra fence around the People's House, reinforced by heavily armed troops, a menacing symbol in a city where symbols mean everything.
Remember that. My life matters. It matters. Your life matters.
Former Marine Felder Evans is so disgusted he threw his dog tags.
If you wear that uniform, then you fight for everyone.
We're all American. So why do we get treated differently?
This is Lafayette Park on the north side of the White House. Statues of revolutionary heroes are in every corner. It's always been a place of protest, a powerful symbol of free speech and democracy. Tonight, it's cut off and these people shut out.
This is the weakest point where the perimeter fence meets this. And here, they've got military police and US Park Police. Some of them I saw smirking, and that only made people even more angry. What would your message be to Trump if you could say something to him?
How are you going to make America great if you won't stand for what's right?
Across town, President Trump was visiting a shrine to a saint, Pope John Paul II. He appeared to ask his wife to smile for the cameras. She didn't.
The pain is raw. The pain is real. The President of the United States must be part of the solution, not the problem.
We stand ready, as previous administrations have done, to deploy active duty military personnel to quell the violence, to quell the looting.
These men of God felt compelled to come to the White House today after yesterday's bizarre presidential photo op across the road outside a church where he wasn't welcome.
And when I saw him desecrate the church that he doesn't go to, holding a Bible that he doesn't read, I could not stand by as a Christian and not say something and come down and protest against what he did to defile the church of God.
The president held up the Bible at St. John's Church yesterday. I just wish he opened it once in a while.
There is no greater symbol in this country than this. Today, under the flag, they are begging not to be killed.
Hands up! Don't shoot! Hands up! Don't shoot! Hands up! Don't shoot!
And in all this madness, a rare moment of hope. A lone policeman breaks ranks, moves forward and lowers himself onto one knee, a powerful symbol in a city and country that promises liberty and justice for all. Eamon Ashton-Atkinson for 10 News First, Washington.
Peaceful protests have once again given way to violence in other parts of the US, despite more moments of calm and unity. Now, the mother of George Floyd's daughter has issued a plea for justice from the city at the heart of one of the darkest periods in American history.
Gas here, flashbangs. Flashbangs here in the street, police behind us, police on all sides.
The world's most powerful nation turning the weapons on itself.
This is a police riot. That is what we are seeing. Police violence.
Protesters and police clashing in Portland and Atlanta.
Protester just sent a tear gas canister back towards police.
In New York, the 8 p.m. curfew set off this. But tonight there was a moment of calm in a country on a knife edge. Thousands defied the curfew to march across Manhattan Bridge after a brief standoff.
Peaceful protest. Peaceful protest.
Police let them through. Last night was a very different story. 700 people were arrested and there was widespread looting. In the Bronx, a police officer was beaten. And another is lucky to be alive after being deliberately mowed down by a car. And they weren't alone. In St. Louis, 4 police officers involved in the protests were shot, their police chief at breaking point.
And now we have 4 in the hospital, but thankfully, and thank God, they're alive. They're alive. But can we make some sense out of this? Can we make some sense out of this? That's all I'm trying to say.
And while there were flashpoints, there's hope. Sense is now starting to prevail.
Trust me, we all hurting. Trust me. Look at my eyes. We are all hurting.
Today was marked by more moments of solidarity than hate. Healthcare workers in a fight of their own joined the protesters in New York, and in Portland, a dramatic statement without violence. Thousands lay down on the city's main bridge to symbolise George Floyd's final minutes. And perhaps the tipping point came not from presidential threats, but for this little girl, 6-year-old Georgina Floyd, George's daughter, who fronted the cameras with her mother.
At the end of the day, they get to go home and be with their families. Georgina does not have a father. He would never see her grow up, graduate. He would never walk her down the aisle.
A family who wants justice and real change for the man they loved. Ursula Hager for 10 News First.
As we go to air, a candlelight vigil is being held at Musgrave Park in solidarity with action around the world. Chris Campy is there for us. Chris says a powerful message behind tonight's gathering.
Indeed there is, Georgie. On the grass behind me here in Musgrave Park are the words, "I can't breathe," marked out in candles. Of course, those words are now associated with the death of George Floyd in Minneapolis at the hands of police officers there in the US, and the spark that led to that widespread protesting and unrest in that nation. Now, the candles here number 432. That's the number of Indigenous Australians whose lives were lost in custody since 1991. Now, this gathering here tonight was deliberately a peaceful and not large-scale public one. That's to keep some of those people who have attended other gatherings around the country away. It's simply a show of shared grief and of solidarity. And as they gather tonight, they're about to hear from some of those community elders, some whom I had the opportunity to talk to a short time ago.
We can say, like, that's happening over here in the US. Also in Australia, we need our leadership to come together and make sure this stops happening. We need to take action against racism whenever it happens.
as those here gathered wait for the light to drop and to light those candles. This, of course, is one of a number of gathering events planned. There are more planned for the weekend in Brisbane and across the nation, and organisers say this is just the start of many more to come.
Thank you, Chris. Live there at Musgrave Park. Police are hunting a pair of arsonists after multiple luxury boats were torched on the Gold Coast overnight. Detectives believe one vessel was firebombed before flames raged across the marina.
In the dead of night, it erupted. 3 boats moored at the Hope Harbour Marina engulfed by fire, flames spreading fast.
I smelt something and thought, oh gee, that smells strong. And then I heard lots and lots of banging and exploding.
Just after 11 p.m, 2 men were spotted throwing a suspected firebomb onto one of the boats.
We believe that they scaled the fence that surrounds the harbour and then accessed the area.
That's the way it felt. The whole house shook twice. So I got scared.
As the flames took hold, they jumped to neighbouring vessels.
We've managed to work with the harbour master and tow a couple of boats away to safety. Some of those boats, worth into the millions of dollars. So yeah, it's a good save for other property.
In all, 3 boats were destroyed, 2 of them sunk. Another 2 suffered significant damage, as did the marina. The estimated damage bill, more than $1 million.
Of course, it's like a home, like a car. It's heartbreaking. Of course, it would be heartbreaking. It's property at the end of the day.
Today, the devastation was clear. Authorities used booms and pumps to remove toxic runoff from the water.
Black smoke was just going everywhere. It was just enormous, what you could see going up into the sky. Blacked all out the moon.
While police divers searched the sunken vessels to check no one had been trapped on board.
Given that we haven't been able to contact all of the owners of the boats, that's just something that we really have to make sure.
Any witnesses are urged to contact police. Matthew Howard for 10 News First.
Cheap flights will soon take off between Brisbane and the Whitsundays to lure Queenslanders north for the winter holidays. The government is still in talks with airlines to make more regional destinations available and affordable.
The perfect backdrop to plug a region finally reopen.
Well, this is what we do right here. The Whitsundays, a la naturale. There's no better place in the world.
And no better time. Alliance Airlines will fly 4 times a week direct from Brisbane to the Whitsundays from June 22nd. Fares start from $99 thanks to a partnership between the airline and council.
In time for the school holidays, and we're encouraging everyone from the southeast corner to come up and support the Whitsundays during a tough time.
This part of paradise has been hit hard by the pandemic. 1 in 3 locals relies on the tourism industry, which is only now restarting with the easing of travel restrictions.
It is a boost of confidence for our tourism operators. That's what we have to work on.
The government's also working on convincing other airlines to make more flights available to more destinations, as Virgin Australia bidders narrow down to 2.
We're in negotiations as well with Qantas as well. So hopefully we'll see more announcements over the coming week.
It shows the need for notice for airlines to gear up to be able to service these regions, and if we want to get tourism truly flying, we need to make sure that every airline has the opportunity to fly in.
But the Premier insists the welcome won't be extended to interstate tourists just yet.
Make it happen. The Whitsundays will roll out the red carpet for you.
Claire Barnes for 10 News First.
Coming up, is your home under threat? We'll reveal the suburbs that thieves are targeting most. Also, pressure mounts on a police officer to be charged over a violent arrest on an Indigenous teen. Plus later, a 4-day working week, how one employer's rethink has changed his business for the better. And in sport, a couple of Lions legends become AFL Hall of Famers.
It's Mystery Box Bingo.
What? Worst ingredients I could think of. It smells a little bit like garbage.
Seriously good.
This was a joy to eat.
MasterChef's Mystery Box Bingo, 7:30 tonight.
Do you have heartburn or indigestion? Gaviscon Dual Action relieves them both. It works fast, 2 ways. It neutralises excess stomach acid and it forms a protective barrier to help stop stomach acid from rising. Gaviscon Dual Action.
Which delicious new Arnott's Cracker Chips flavour will you try first? Hickory ribs with sticky glaze or mozzarella and basil bruschetta? Arnott's Cracker Chips, oven roasted, never fried.
The Amazon mid-year sale is live now. Time to get great deals on electronics, fashion, homewares and more. Shop amazon.com.au. Easy as.
We're shaking things up, Queensland. With Containers for Change, you get 10 cents for every eligible drink container at your local container refund point. To find out where to cash in, visit containersforchange.com.au.
Has your life been turned upside down by a work accident? Talk to Australia's #1 law firm. Morris Blackburn Lawyers will maximise your claim so you can get on with your life again. Call us now. It costs nothing to know where you stand.
Krispy Kreme Snickers.
Oh, sorry, hang on a sec. 1.5 metres. Social distancing.
But
I don't make the rules.
Krispy Kreme Snickers. New at 7-Eleven.
Stick boredom on the bench. Footy's back. For every Thursday and Friday NRL game this round, place a head-to-head bet, and if your team wins by 6 or more, we'll double your winnings in bonus bets up to $50. Tab, long may we play.
Whether it's magnificent cooks, magical books, or bumbling crooks, there's a bit of Disney Plus in all of us.
Well, good afternoon. Some big dramas on the Warrego Highway ongoing after a truck conked out earlier this afternoon and dropped a whole lot of diesel around Colo. Westbound is still blocked, diversions in place and some big delays too. This is Gympie Road heading northbound. A really slow run this afternoon coming out of Castledome up towards Bald Hills and on towards the Pine River Bridge. And a busy run too on Old Northern Road up through Albany Creek after an earlier accident involving about 4 cars on Beckett Road, and some busy going too on the Western Freeway out around Fig Tree Pocket. I'm Dave Andrews. Thanks to Aussie Home Loans and Georgie. Another check of the roads coming up later in the bulletin.
We'll see you again soon. Thank you, Dave. The family of an Aboriginal boy filmed being thrown face first into the ground by a New South Wales police officer want him charged with assault. The junior constable has been put on restricted duties while his organisation investigates one of its own.
Half a world away, an Aboriginal family takes a knee in solidarity with the family of murdered black man George Floyd as they face their own battle with law enforcement.
We didn't know that this was going to happen at this particular time in history, in the global history, in the national history.
Her son captured on video talking to New South Wales police. The 16-year-old makes this comment.
What was that?
Before a junior constable storms over, pulls his arms behind his back and kicks his legs away, causing him to fall face first into the pavement.
To leg sweep somebody who was not a threat and resisting was dangerous and uncalled for. This police officer must be charged so we don't have to deal with another incident like this.
The boy was arrested before being released without charge. He was treated in hospital for a chipped tooth, cuts and bruises, but his family says it could have been much worse. His parents say he's a typical teenage boy who feels most at home amongst his peers, which is exactly what he was doing before the arrest, hanging out with friends in this park when they were approached by the officers who'd been patrolling nearby. The family is calling for the officers who watched to be scrutinised and for an independent investigation. But their boss claims it was an isolated incident.
You would have to say he's had a bad day, and I'm sure most of the community wouldn't want to see someone who's made a mistake sacked.
While the police minister is standing firm on the fence.
I was just as disturbed about the threat from a young person to physically assault a police officer as I was with the response from the police officer.
The case has reignited long-standing allegations of systemic racism on a day dedicated to Australia's most renowned Indigenous trailblazer, Eddie Mabo.
Mabo Day today. We want to pursue that with our children.
Leah Harris for 10 News First.
A Brisbane court has found Clive Palmer's nickel refinery was insolvent in the days before administrators were called in, but the Supreme Court has dismissed the liquidator's $100 million claim against his flagship company, Mineralogy. Mr Palmer says he'll now seek compensation. QNI collapsed in January 2016, leaving 800 people out of work. The insolvency ruling could also attract the attention of the Australian Securities and Investment Commission. A judge has sounded off at two young men who almost killed drug kingpin Tony Mockbell inside Barwon Prison, warning them about the dangers of a life of crime. The pair will each serve an extra 5 years jail after pleading guilty to the frenzied stabbing.
Going off script, experienced judge Liz Gaynor told the men there's no glory in being a jailhouse hero.
You two young blokes, 2-on-1, mauled and maimed a 53-year-old man.
Tira Bennett and Aldea Tierra had earlier laughed as the judge described the frenzied attack on Tony Mockbell last year. It was prompted by a newspaper article, an attempt to assert the dominance of their prison gang known as GFAM.
Let me tell you, gentlemen, in a few years, GFAM and the bros are not going to do it for you.
As the drug baron walked through the exercise yard, he was knocked unconscious. He was then kicked and stabbed with shivs made from sharpened wire and a fork. Mockbell underwent emergency brain surgery and has now recovered from his injuries. Judge Gaynor warned his attackers a life of crime and drugs is tragic.
You'll have a few relationships. You'll have a relationship here, a relationship there. You'll have 6 kids by 6 different mothers. And if you're still using, you'll probably assault them. You will end up drug-rattled, lonely old men.
Their sentences add another 5 years to the terms they're serving for armed robbery and a raft of other offences. Tira Bennett will be deported to New Zealand when he's released, despite having no connections there. He moved to Australia with his family at age 11 and completed his schooling here, including Year 12. He then got a job but turned to crime after being introduced to ice, and he became an addict within weeks. New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern has called such deportation cases corrosive to the trans-Tasman relationship. Emma O'Sullivan for 10 News First.
New data has revealed Brisbane's south side is a growing hotspot for break-ins. Residents are now being warned not to become complacent about home security as lockdown restrictions ease.
As we move out into the wider world once again, there are fears the crooks will move in.
So we're really warning Queenslanders that now that restrictions are easing, really make sure that you're very vigilant with locking those windows and doors around your home.
And before jumping in the car, take stock of your most valuable items.
Just walk around the house and say, well, am I going to miss that? Oh, that's probably very precious. I might go a little bit extra effort to hiding that around rather than leaving it out.
The south side of Brisbane is overrepresented on the list of Queensland suburbs hit hardest by burglars, based on the latest RACQ insurance data. Carindale has had the highest number of claims for theft over the past 3 years. Also in the top 5, Currabee, Forest Lake and 8 Mile Plains, a stone's throw from where Brisbane doctor Lu Ping Zing was gunned down in the garage of his home during a bungled robbery last year. Sunnybank Hills and Runcorn also feature highly on the list.
The top items that are being stolen across Queensland are cash, jewellery and computers.
Car keys are also a popular find for thieves.
Don't leave them on the kitchen bench, don't leave them on a hook by the door, but please maybe put them away. Certainly don't leave them in the car.
Meanwhile, police are also investigating a spike in smash and grab robberies of small businesses in Browns Plains.
We're trying to support the small businesses as best we can to try and minimise the effect that it's having on them.
There have been 23 break-ins around the suburb in the last month alone. Brendan Savage for 10 News First.
Well, time for an early weather check, and Josh, parts of the state experienced their coldest temperatures in almost a year.
Yeah, that's right, Georgie. Wednesday morning's minimum temperatures dropped to as low as minus 1.5 degrees at Roma, minus 1 degree at Mitchell and minus 0.5 degrees at Kingaroy and Injune. Other notable lows were 9.5 degrees here in Brisbane City and 4.3 degrees at Coolangatta. This was the coldest morning since last August for all of these locations. It was all due to some cold southerly air sitting over Queensland, light winds and clear skies, allowing those temperatures to drop first thing today. We got to 22 this afternoon, though, in Brisbane. Not too bad. 21 the top at the Sunshine Coast and 20 degrees at the Gold Coast. We hit 22 at Logan, 21 at Caboolture and tops of 23 for Ipswich and 16 at Toowoomba. Of course, we're expecting some more cold temperatures over the coming days. We'll have all those weather details coming up at around about 5 to 6, Georgie.
We'll see you then. Thanks, Josh. Ahead, the new report accusing China of potentially deadly delays in the early days of coronavirus. Also, America's riots reopen old wounds in France. And a lasting legacy, remembering a turning point for Queensland's First Nations.
Your home means more than ever, and so does having the right home loan. To understand your options, go straight to Aussie. We'll help ensure you have the right loan for right now.
It's Gogglebox, like you've never seen before.
Kim Jong-un has resurfaced.
I'm really happy now. It's really made my day.
And this time, it's celebrities on the couch.
Ruining my sex drive for the next 50 years. Good.
It's the new series coming to Thursdays.
Oh, that's James Brown.
No, James Brown is dead.
Oh.
So what will the famous and their families say about what's on the box?
Take it off! Take it off!
Who the is that?
New Celebrity Gogglebox USA is coming to Thursdays on 10.
Stick boredom on the bench. Footy's back. For every Thursday and Friday NRL game this round, place a head-to-head bet, and if your team wins by 6 or more, we'll double your winnings in bonus bets up to $50. Tab, long may we play.
Go on.
At Devondale, we believe great milk comes from cows that graze free.
There you go, Swagger.
Steve? Domino's is bringing New York to your living room with the new tastier New Yorker range, now with even more authentic ingredients, like huge pepperoni on a giant-sized New York pizza. Try one from just $19.95 delivered from Domino's.
Tough, refined, exceptional value. A BT50 stands out. At the Mazda Standout End of Financial Year event, get a 2019 plate Mazda BT50 XT 4x4 dual cab with ABN bonus from $37,490 drive away.
Oh. Hi.
Hi, Mum, it's me. I'm just checking in.
Oh, hi, darling. Can you hear me?
Yes, but it's a video call, so move the phone away from your ear.
No, wait on. Can't see you. Oh, yeah. There you are. Hi.
So good to see your face, Mum.
You too, dear.
You don't need Australia's best network until you do.
Muscle and osteopain can really tie you down. That pain is caused by inflammation. Nurofen helps reduce inflammation and relieve osteo and muscle pain for up to 8 hours. Break free with Nurofen.
Stick boredom on the bench. Footy's back. For every Thursday and Friday NRL game this round, place a head-to-head bet, and if your team wins by 6 or more, we'll double your winnings in bonus bets up to $50. Tab, long may we play.
It's business as usual at Palm Lake Resort, Caloundra Key, where you can still realise your dream of living in this luxurious over-50s lifestyle community. Enjoy the Caribbean-inspired resort's world-class leisure facilities and opulent country club. There are designer homes ready for you to move into today. Caloundra Key is selling fast. Video call the sales centre or take a virtual tour online at palmlakeresort.com.au. This is your time.
Worst ingredients I could think of.
This was a joy to eat.
Mystery Box Bingo tonight.
You're watching 10 News First. Mirroring the demonstrations in the US, French protesters have marched in Paris remembering a black man killed by officers in 2016. Activists threw rocks and stones at riot police who fired tear gas back, trying to stop the group marching up the road in the northern part of the city. Police had earlier banned the event on safety grounds. Bridges across Brisbane are bathed in blue, white and green tonight in honour of a man who changed our nation forever. Eddie Mabo devoted his life to fighting for Indigenous land rights, with today marking almost 3 decades since that historic court ruling. And a warning for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, this story contains the image and voice of a deceased person.
On this day, 28 years ago, Eddie Mabo made history.
A 200-year-old law was changed by this man on the 3rd of June.
The legal battle began in 1982.
And we're taking the matter to court on the basis of international common law.
A decade later, the High Court handed down a landmark ruling overturning the Terra Nullius Declaration that Australia was land belonging to no one.
It's a victory for not only just Indigenous peoples of the land, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, it's for all Australians. Acknowledging the rights of Indigenous people and their connection to country. The legacy left behind is that recognition of the identity and the people.
That was his fight, that was his passion. That was what he ate and slept doing.
Sadly, he died 5 months before the historic decision. But today, around Australia, people pause to remember a man who left his mark. In Townsville, a special service honouring a moment in time, but the fight is far from over.
Without Eddie Mabo, we'd be a long way back from where we are. He took huge steps in recognising a really failed system.
It is a lengthy process, but hundreds of native title determinations have now been made. Some elders believe we could and should be doing more to heal wounds.
For me, the vision is for all of us to be together.
As for the family of Eddie Mabo, he is never far away.
As I always tell my children, when you hear the thunder rolling in, that's your grandfather getting ready to dance.
You'll never be forgotten, never will be forgotten.
John Paul Gonzo for 10 News First.
A new investigation has revealed China significantly delayed releasing key information to the World Health Organization to help fight coronavirus. The Associated Press reports Chinese authorities refused to release the genetic map of the virus for more than a week after 3 different government labs had decoded it. That information is key to developing a treatment or even a vaccine. Throughout January, the WHO publicly praised China for what it called a speedy response to the outbreak. The Tiger King saga has delivered another twist. Self-proclaimed wildlife warrior Carol Baskin has been awarded ownership of Joe Exotic Zoo by a US judge. The centre was part of a $1 million trademark dispute. All animals need to be removed from the property within 120 days. The zoo now becomes part of Miss Baskin's Big Cat Rescue. Both Joe Exotic and Carol Baskin became household names on the Netflix documentary Tiger King. Well, stay with us. Tonight's top stories follow the break. Also, words of wisdom for your workplace, how a simple rethink could improve your productivity. And a mouse in need of a house for him and a few hundred of his friends.
Tonight, the world blacks out social media pages in a protest against racial inequality. But what's the next step?
Aussie charities in crisis as COVID-19 takes its toll. How do we keep them all afloat?
And since the pandemic started, Zoom has recorded a huge increase in profits. They've also recorded a huge increase in co-workers peering into each other's homes. Though I was doing that even before the pandemic, which reminds me, Waleed, you need to fix your shower curtain.
And get out of bed to be helpful.
Well, then we're coming up at 6:30.
Let him stay in bed.
It's Mystery Box Bingo.
What? Worst ingredients I could think of.
It smells a little bit like garbage.
Seriously good.
This was a joy to eat.
MasterChef's Mystery Box Bingo, 7:30 tonight.
Very easy for you to set up a smart home at Bunnings.
Smart starter kit, only $258. Alex Smart adapter, just $17.50.
Where you find a competitor's lower price on the same stocked item, we'll beat it by 10%. Shop at Bunnings wherever you are, whenever you want.
Great Wall end of financial year value is now on. Get a brand new petrol dual cab or diesel single cab with a free trade and a 5-year warranty from only $19,990. That's right, from just $19,990 drive away. Great Wall, it's built to work.
Make a bold statement in your home with a long-lasting quality floor from Harvey Norman. From pet-friendly carpets to durable timber flooring, you'll be spoiled for choice. With innovative products from the world's leading brands exclusive to Harvey Norman. Let our experts help you find the perfect fit for your home. We can provide the complete service, from measure and quote to installation. Or find the perfect rug from our huge range, including exclusive collections. With 60 months interest-free available, talk to our experts today. Harvey Norman, your flooring specialists.
Go! Are you pregnant or planning for a baby? Try Elevate Pregnancy Multivitamin from Chemist Warehouse. Elevate is Australia's most trusted pregnancy multivitamin, a scientific formula with more folic acid and iron than any other pregnancy multivitamin. Elevate Pregnancy Multivitamin is $59.99 at Chemist Warehouse. And now available Elevate DHA to support baby's brain and eye development, and Elevate Probiotics to support immunity. Live, look, feel well at Chemist Warehouse.
We miss you. Come for dinner. Oh no. We're getting Hungry Jack's delivered.
Feed the family. Get Hungry Jack's Flame Grilled Whoppers delivered now on Uber Eats or Menu Lock. Hungry Jack's Delivery. The burgers are better.
Oh.
Hi. Hi, Mum, it's me. I'm just checking in.
Oh, hi, darling. Can you hear me?
Yes, but it's a video call, so move the phone away from your ear.
No, away on. Can't see you. Oh, yeah. There you are. Hi.
So good to see your face, Mum.
You too, dear.
You don't need Australia's best network until you do.
Keithy Turnip's up next. He flies. The ball's nowhere near him. Sucked in, Soap Dodger.
Catch this instead. For NRL this week, lead by 4 points or more at half-time and we'll pay you out straight away. 4 up, you win with Sportsbet.
The MG Triple Value sale is now on. Get triple value this month with $777 cash back across the range, an MG gift pack and MG 7-year unlimited kilometre warranty. Hurry, offer ends soon.
Thanks for calling ING. This is Adam speaking. How can I help you? No, I'm currently working from home.
Oh, you can call anytime, so...
Sorry. And she's currently nibbling at my toe right now.
Yeah, working from home was a bit tricky at first, but...
There's definitely been some stray farts, hasn't there, mate?
And now your loan's on a fixed rate. Can I help you with anything else?
No, you made my day.
Well, whatever 2020 throws at you, we're here for a chat anytime.
Too easy.
Hello again, still some big delays on the Warrego Highway westbound, still blocked after that broken down truck spilled a whole lot of diesel over the road. There's diversions in place and some big delays too. These are delays on Gympie Road heading up through Kedron at the moment, heading up towards Stafford Road, quite slow going. Up the Gateway, back around the bottom end around Nudgee, not doing too badly. Once you get to about Boondall though, some really slow going from there all the way up towards the Bruce Highway. Getting onto the Pine River Bridge is a fairly good run heading up towards North Lakes. I'm Dave Andrews, thanks to Aussie Home Loans. Have a great night tonight. I'll be back to check the roads again for you tomorrow.
Tonight's top stories. There's been a second arrest over the death of Willow Dunn. Her stepmother is now accused of murder after the 4-year-old's father was charged last week. Australia officially in recession for the first time in almost 30 years. Summer bushfires have hit the economy hard and we're yet to feel the full impact of COVID-19. And tensions have flared again in Washington in just the past few hours, with the president's threatened military crackdown seeming to encourage more protesters. Employers are closely watching a Brisbane company forging ahead with a 4-day working week. But the signs are already so positive, Queensland's Chamber of Commerce has been swamped with inquiries from businesses wanting to get on board.
Ask any small business owner and they'll generally agree it's a career path fraught with peril. But Miles Beaufort chose to walk that tightrope anyway.
We knew from a financial perspective exactly how this could potentially go,
badly or well.
He's talking about a 4-day working week for his office staff who keep Home Instead Senior Care East Brisbane ticking over.
Knowing that your boss does trust you to do all of your work in the 4 days, and he's telling you, I've done the research, I know that this can work, let's give it a go.
And that's not easy to do when you've been doing it one way all your life.
This was no overnight thought bubble. It took more than 3 years of reading, advice from mentors and a solid amount of guts to take the leap. And critically, bringing a fully briefed staff along for the ride.
It's not something that you're doing because you're mad, or it's not something that you're doing as an experiment. This is something that you're doing to genuinely improve their mental well-being.
The result has been a 40% leap in productivity, a surge in business revenue and zero loss in wages.
You work 32 hours, but you're paid in the same way as you were when you worked 40, because there's no loss for the business.
Queensland's Chamber of Commerce says last month alone more than 1,000 calls came in from employers looking at the 4-day working week.
Well, we're okay with that idea as long as employees and business can, improve, workplace relations. It's a good idea.
Moving forward, employer groups say the 4-day working week idea won't be an easy fit for all industries, agreeing there will be winners and losers.
Businesses must be agile and listen to their employees.
Like this happy bunch.
I can keep growing as an individual and get paid the same amount of money to do that. It's brilliant.
Tim Collins for 10 News First.
If you're looking for a somewhat different four-legged friend to add to your family, then we've got some good news. The RSPCA is looking to rehome hundreds of mice seized in recent raids. They are social animals though, so anyone considering getting one should think about taking a second. Although make sure you get 2 of the same sex, otherwise you're likely to wind up with many more than you might have hoped for. There's also more than 100 recently seized birds which need new homes as well. Well, it is sport time. John, a huge honour for a couple of Lions legends.
Yeah, that's right, Georgie. Certainly well deserved indeed. Thank you. Helleron coming up. They were champions of the Lions' golden era, and now Simon Black and Jonathan Brown are AFL Hall of Famers. That's next. Also, it's looking more and more likely the Broncos will blood yet another rookie tomorrow night. And why Swimming Australia's head coach has quit a year out from the Tokyo Games.
Your home means more than ever, and so does having the right home loan. To understand your options, go straight to Aussie. We'll help ensure you have the right loan for right now.
Courtney Act is bringing some neighbourly love tonight, 6:30.
It's Gogglebox, like you've never seen before.
What the is that?
And this time, it's celebrities on the couch.
Oh, that's James Brown.
My James Brown is dead.
Oh.
New Celebrity Gogglebox USA is coming to Thursdays.
Introducing BP Rewards. Earn BP points to spend in store.
BP Rewards.
Or get dollars off fuel.
BP Rewards.
Or choose to earn Qantas points.
Totally BP Rewards.
Start earning today. Your rewards, your way.
From the director of Bridesmaids comes Stan's new series starring Anna Kendrick.
Have you found the one?
No, I found some losers on Match.com.
The brand new series Love Life, now streaming only on Stan.
There you go, Swagger.
Steve?
Domino's is bringing New York to your living room with the new Tastier New Yorker range, now with even more authentic ingredients, like huge pepperoni on a giant-sized New York pizza. Try one from just $19.95 delivered from Domino's.
Right now, businesses are doing whatever they can to take care of their business and their staff, and that's why many are choosing to expand online. But taking your business online can be tricky, and that's where CommBank e-commerce solutions come in.
CommBank helped me sell my products online securely so people can enjoy my restaurants in their living rooms.
We're here to help businesses get up and running online so they can stay up and running.
And we can, together.
My barber was fussing with my hair, trying to hide the thinning bits, and he says to me, maybe we should shave it all off. That was my turning point.
Reached your turning point? The doctors at Ashley & Martin could help regrow your hair.
Get back to the game you love with Drummond Golf. Get 10 to 30% off balls, 10 to 20% off drivers, fairways and hybrids, 10 to 20% off shoes, and a minimum 10% off all measuring devices. Now on at Drummond Golf.
The V6 twin-turbo rear-wheel drive Kia Stinger. It took 7 years to create and 4.9 seconds to understand why.
Stick boredom on the bench. Footy's back. For every Thursday and Friday NRL game this round, place a head-to-head bet, and if your team wins by 6 or more, we'll double your winnings in bonus bets up to $50. Tab, long may we play.
When headaches hold you back, try Nurofen Quicksorb. Its advanced formula absorbs quickly, relieving headaches fast. For quick, effective pain relief, choose Nurofen Quicksorb.
Worst ingredients I could think of. This was a joy to eat.
Mystery Box Bingo tonight.
Welcome back. The Broncos' injury curse looks to be getting worse, with speculation hooker Jake Turpin could miss at least a month of football with a suspected broken leg. Brisbane are bracing for fireworks against the Roosters tomorrow night, with yet another youngster set to debut.
From the ground outside Suncorp Stadium and from the air, there was no sign of Jake Turpin, but one Broncos co-captain was towing the official line.
And yeah, Terps, he'll be given every chance to play tomorrow night. He's a very valuable player to this team.
While the other seemingly ruled in Toowoomba's Corey Pakes for his debut.
I've got every confidence that he'll be able to do his job, but he should be confident too. He's a bit of a different kind of nine. He plays a bit like Damien Cook, kind of. Yeah, it'll be good. I'm interested to see how it goes.
Pakes is yet another young face to join Anthony Seibold's lineup. The weight of experience well and truly in the Roosters' favour tomorrow night.
I've done a little bit on Brisbane this week, but you know, early season we really want to nail our footy.
No sugarcoating it. We're going to have to go toe-to-toe with them, and yeah, it's going to be exciting. And there'll probably be some fireworks without a crowd there.
The Premier's getting another win at the Judiciary, with Victor Radley cleared to play overnight.
The defence of the tackle and how, you know, the modern game and how people want people to be tackling, so it was a positive result.
Good news in Townsville too, with Carl Felt signing on for another 4 years. The winger using the opportunity to defend Valentine Holmes from claims his Cronulla exit was done the wrong way.
It's totally up to them what they say and what they do, but yeah, I know Val's moved on from everything.
Veronica Eggleton for 10 News First.
Lions Premiership star Jonathan Brown admits he was caught completely off guard by his call-up into the AFL's Hall of Fame. While for Simon Black, it's an honour a year in the making. As humble as ever, he's the last of Brisbane's Fab Four midfielders to be inducted.
Simon Black's AFL Hall of Fame induction was supposed to be in 2019, but at the time, he was a little busy.
I think some of the younger generation coming through might know me for Survivor last year.
Impossible after one of the game's most distinguished careers. Last night, he would get his moment.
So belatedly, Simon Black, welcome to the Australian Football Hall of Fame.
A Brownlow, a Norm Smith, 3 premierships, 3 All-Australians and a 3-time best and fairest. A year on, there's still few more deserving.
I just feel very fortunate to have been part of such a great football team at that time.
A team that also boasted imposing forward Jonathan Brown, deservedly honoured alongside his old mate.
It's an overwhelming feeling, and I must admit I thought I was in trouble when the chairman Richard Goyder rang me a few weeks ago. Thinking, what have I said on air to upset the AFL?
While he's remembered by many for moments like this, there was more to him than just feats of courage.
He was an incredibly skillful player, and the conviction he played the game with, not many have played the game with more conviction, and you walk tall around Brownie.
That's now 5 Brisbane Lions Hall of Famers, joining Jason Ackermanis, Nigel Lappin and their premiership captain, Michael Voss.
They were just absolutely fierce competitors, and
They just wanted to get better every single day. They had an amazing work ethic.
So here's cheers to two of the greats. Josh McLean for 10 News First.
A year out from the rescheduled Olympic Games, Australia's swim team has been forced into a coaching change, with Jaco Verhaeren stepping aside today after 7 years in charge. The Dutchman's contract was due to expire in November, but the 12-month delay of the Tokyo Games has triggered his early departure. He's been in charge of the Dolphins since 2013, guiding them to Australia's most successful Commonwealth Games 2 years ago. Liesl Jones's former coach, Rowan Taylor, will take over. Formula One is confident a positive COVID-19 test won't derail plans to relaunch the season. They've unveiled the first 8 rounds of the new calendar, starting with consecutive race weeks in Austria from July 5.
Rigorous set of guidelines. I don't know, probably at this point it's probably 80 to 90 pages. We will test before you go there. I think at this point testing every 2 days. If we find, a positive infection, to deal with that.
Silverstone will also host 2 Grand Prix, while Spain, Belgium and Monza in Italy have 1 each. The remaining schedule will be released later this month. Join us, that's all in sport. I'll see you after 6.
Thank you, Jono. The big chill continues. Josh has all the details next.
Well, Aussie charities become casualties of COVID-19.
It's Mystery Box Bingo.
What? Worst ingredients I could think of.
It smells a little bit like garbage.
Seriously good.
This was a joy to eat.
MasterChef's Mystery Box Bingo, 7:30 tonight.
Turnip's up next, he fires, the ball's nowhere near him! Sucked in, Soap Dodger!
Catch this instead. For NRL this week, lead by 4 points or more at half-time and we'll pay you out straight away. 4 up, you win with Sportsbet.
Save up to 15% on your first year's premium when you get a new Allianz comprehensive car insurance policy online.
Hey, good to go.
Thanks.
Get that Allianz feeling. Search for a quote today.
With Belong, you get 10 gigs of mobile data for $25 a month. That's 10 gigs of family time. Plus, unlimited international calls and texts to selected countries for $5 extra. Together, we're different. Belong.
Thanks to Light and Easy, Australians of all ages can enjoy delicious, nutritious meals in the comfort and safety of home. If you or someone close to you could benefit by having healthy meals delivered, visit lightandeasy.com.au today.
Save a massive 20 to 50% off store-wide at Spotlight. Yes, 20 to 50% off Manchester home decor, fabrics, craft, party curtains and blinds store-wide. So decorate it, celebrate it and create it for less. Sale on now. At Spotlight, it's what you make it.
Now I need to find an aged care worker. Someone to help me get ready for the day and some physio help.
Mabel has over 10,000 independent care and support workers ready to help you. Find your people at mabel.com.au.
The Land Rover main event, with offers as spectacular as our vehicles. Like savings that leave the GST behind and a 5-year warranty. All yours on Land Rover Discovery Sport. On now.
Well, for Benson now, for classic catches gold. Catch it! Yes! Well held, son! Get him into the cordon!
I've seen a car go off a cliff with more grace than that, but geez, the big man has great hands.
That Make It Look Easy moment was brought to you by Sportsbet's NRL Same Game Multi. Combine your favourite markets, like South to win, into both Latrell and Tedesco to score, and you'll get bigger odds. Same Game Multi from Sportsbet.
The miracle of life, but not as you know it. The unbelievable story behind this photo revealed.
The coronavirus scams trapping hundreds of Aussies. What to watch out for and how to protect your money.
Plus, Aussie fashion superstar Rebecca Valance.
You can't compromise. The product is king.
Tomorrow on Studio 10.
It is weather time, Josh. Winter is in full swing.
That's right, Georgie. In fact, many places across Queensland this morning seeing their coldest temperatures since August last year. And it will be cold again tomorrow morning. And we'll look at those forecast temps in just a moment. Firstly, let's go to a nice new shot of our weather cam this evening, looking across the Brisbane River towards the Captain Cook Bridge. Today we reached a top of 22 degrees in the city after an overnight low of 9.5 degrees. Right now in the city we're sitting on 16 currently, humidity at 49% and the wind's light at 4 kilometres per hour. As you would assume, across Queensland we had clear skies for the best part of today, a little bit of low cloud across areas of New South Wales at the moment, a low pressure system situated in the Tasman Sea, and across to the west we've got a bit of high cloud coming in over the northwest of WA, but really a high pressure system dominant across parts of central and southern Australia currently. You can see it here tomorrow, shifting a little bit further east across southeastern Australia, still producing some onshore flow for the Queensland coast, but also some light winds across inland areas of New South Wales and Queensland. As a result of the light winds, the clear skies, it will allow those temperatures again to drop first thing in the morning. And in fact, we're expecting those cooler conditions through most of the state as a southerly airstream prevails tomorrow, with morning frost through parts of the southern inland. Moving into the predicted rain chart, well, look, the slight chance of a shower tomorrow along the east coast. The coastal exposed areas probably the best chance, and the southern coast also thrown into the mix. You can see here the odd shower as well possible around areas of the Wide Bay, Capricornia and up around areas of the northeast coast, but we're not expecting too much into the gauges tomorrow. The biggest feature of course will be that frost across inland parts of the state. Moving interstate and Sydney for Thursday, top temperatures are 17, partly cloudy skies and early frost, and -2 for Canberra. Very chilly start tomorrow, 13 through the afternoon. We're looking at a partly cloudy day for Melbourne, tops of 14 degrees. A nice sunny day for Hobart, although cool, topping out at 14. 1 degree better in Adelaide with 15 tomorrow, 23 mostly sunny for Perth, and a nice day for Darwin hitting 31 degrees. For the far northeast coast, mostly sunny for Cairns and Townsville, tops of 20 degrees for Atherton and 24 for the Isa. Sunny skies for Longreach after a cool start, much the same for Roma, dropping to 2 overnight, 21 through the afternoon, and a partly cloudy day for Rocky, Bundaberg, Maryborough and Gympie. Into the southeast, it will be partly cloudy tomorrow. Just a slight chance of a shower along the coastal fringe as mentioned. It will be dry elsewhere. Overnight temperatures falling to between 5 and 11 degrees, with daytime temperatures reaching between 18 and 22. We're going for 17 at Toowoomba, 21 at Logan and 22 at Caboolture. On to the bay, we're looking at south to southeasterly winds up to around about 25 knots through the late morning and afternoon, and the sea's hovering around about 1.5 metres. Sea surface temperatures still around about that 23 degree mark. 22 on the way for Brisbane, partly cloudy skies tomorrow and staying that way Friday and Saturday, topping out at 23. Cooler temperatures again first thing in the morning over the next couple of days, and Ipswich looking a little bit cooler, down to 6 degrees tomorrow, 8 degrees Friday morning, and we're looking at partly cloudy skies Saturday and Sunday with 24 degrees. Now, how would you like to win a year's supply of groceries? All you have to do is stay tuned to 10 News first and look out for the code word. It's coming up very shortly indeed. We'll also have the extended forecast for the Gold and Sunshine Coast coming up a little bit later in the bulletin.
A stepmother locked up, the partner of Willow Dunn's father, tonight behind bars, charged with the little girl's murder. It's official, Australia now in the recession we couldn't avoid, and we're being warned it's only going to get worse. And another day delivers rage across America, but in amongst the violence and fury we've seen moments of hope and solidarity. 9 days after little Willow Dunn was found dead in her Cannon Hill home, her stepmother has now been charged with murder. The breakthrough comes as police expand their search for witnesses interstate.
Shannon Lee White is accused of doing nothing to save Willow Dunn from her brutal death.
Shannon, do you have anything to say?
The stepmother of the 4-year-old girl has now been charged with her murder after Willow's father, Mark Dunn, was charged last week.
The scene that presented was extremely confronting, and I maintain that hasn't changed.
Willow was found dead in her cot at her Cannon Hill home last Monday. It's alleged the little girl who had Down syndrome died days earlier. Police say her tiny body showed signs of serious malnourishment and mistreatment.
Despite today's second arrest in this homicide, Detectives are continuing to progress this investigation.
25 detectives have worked tirelessly on Willow's case, their investigation now extending south of the border into New South Wales and South Australia.
We know that members of Willow's family relocated from Adelaide to Brisbane in 2017, and we believe that there is value in identifying potential witnesses in South Australia.
Shannon White will remain behind bars after her case was briefly mentioned in court this afternoon. The 43-year-old is charged under the expanded definition of murder, which includes reckless indifference to human life. Her case will return to court in July, the same day as Willow's father, as police continue to build a clearer picture of the little girl's life in the days, weeks and years leading up to her death. Samantha Butler for 10 News First.
For the first time in almost 30 years, Australia is officially in recession. New figures out today show the summer bushfires have caused the economy to shrink, but that's nothing compared to what COVID-19 is going to do. Peter Van Onselen joins me. Peter, Treasurer Josh Frydenberg joins Paul Keating in a pretty miserable club.
That's exactly right, Georgie. It's not a club you really want to be in. He's handing down or standing before the first recession in 29 years. It was 1991 that Paul Keating as Treasurer presided over the last recession that Australia had. That's the longest run of any first world country right around the world to go without a recession, but the whole world as we know it is falling into recession, if not depression now. The Treasurer, he was sanguine today when talking about this. He recognises that it's going to get a lot worse before it gets better. Here's a little bit of what he had to say.
This was the economists' version of Armageddon. The impact on the economy has been very severe. The impact in the June quarter will be even more severe. We've climbed this mountain before, we'll climb it again. Thank you.
The news today which confirmed that we are in recession was the first quarter results. The economy contracted by 0.3%. To be in a technical recession, that has to happen in 2 quarters. But the Treasurer acknowledged today that it will happen for the second quarter, of which we're already 2/3 of the way in. And that is because of the pandemic that we're still in the midst of. And the fallout for that is going to last at least till the end of this year. So no doubt that we're in a recession. The challenge now is how do we get out of it? And it was here in Sydney that the Industrial Relations Minister Christian Porter was meeting with union leaders. One of the things the government hopes will help get us out of this recession that we're now in is industrial relations reform, but it remains to be seen whether or not that can really be achieved.
Thank you, Peter, in Sydney. Peaceful protests have once again given way to violence across America despite more moments of calm and unity. From Washington DC to all corners of the nation, there are more clashes and more heartbreak tonight.
The symbol of American power, the heart of its democracy. Tonight, the White House is once again the target of protesters' fury. A new security fence, lines of police and a curfew have done nothing to keep them away.
Because I'm fighting for my life. I'm fighting for my kids' life. I'm fighting for my family. I'm fighting. And I feel like this is worth it. People want to be violent, let them be violent, because we've been experiencing violence for the past 400 years.
It was here yesterday that police cleared a path for the president so he could stand outside a damaged church.
We stand today outraged with President Trump's use of the military against peaceful protesters.
Using tear gas and flash grenades in order to stage a photo op.
Today, Donald Trump staged another one at a shrine to Pope John Paul, appearing to urge the First Lady to smile. But in America tonight, there is little to be happy about.
Gas here, flashbangs.
In Portland, Oregon,
This is a police riot. That is what they're saying.
police are chasing demonstrators through the streets with tear gas. These are clashes in Milwaukee just in the past few hours. And there are violent standoffs too in Atlanta.
Protester just sent a tear gas canister back towards police, back towards National Guard.
Overnight in the Bronx, a policeman was run down and injured. And in Missouri, 4 officers were shot, their chief filled with despair.
Thank God they're alive. They're alive. But can we make some sense out of this?
In New York, Democrat politicians are bickering over who is to blame for yesterday's violent looting spree.
The NYPD and the mayor did not do their job last night. You have 38,000 NYPD. Use 38,000 people.
And as America debates the legality of the president's threat to turn the army on its own people, the Pentagon has tonight confirmed an extra 1,600 active soldiers have been flown to the capital and placed on standby. Daniel Sutton for 10 News First.
Meanwhile, the state of Minnesota has launched a sweeping civil rights probe into the Minneapolis Police Department. CBS correspondent Skylar Henry has the latest.
Well, the civil rights investigation that the state of Minnesota is opening up against the Minneapolis Police Department is relatively broad. They want to see whether the department has actually used any sort of practices in terms of discrimination in terms of people of color, particularly in the last 10 years. Now, obviously, this is stemming from George Floyd, but they want to see how far this goes, and if there is any issues whatsoever, they want to make sure that they are doing anything in their power to stop it altogether. Now, we've been out here all day. It's been a significantly large crowd that we've seen here, and they want to make sure that they honor George Floyd, that they are doing so peacefully, and that they are showing the love that they have for him as well. Now, we heard from the mother of George Floyd's daughter earlier today. She says that she's absolutely heartbroken about what has happened to him, and she has a message for those listening.
Tiana does not have a father. He will never see her grow up, graduate. He will never walk her down the aisle.
Now, we have been out across the city of Minneapolis throughout the day today. Thousands of protesters have gathered in multiple locations, not just here at the memorial where George Floyd died, but all throughout the city as well. Several different groups of people, all wanting to make sure that they pay tribute to a man who has essentially started a movement across the country and, quite frankly, around the world. Back to you.
Gold Coast police are hunting two arsonists after luxury boats were destroyed. Firefighters arrived at the Hope Island Marina just after 11 p.m. to find 3 vessels well alight. While they fought to contain the flames, the harbour master towed neighbouring boats to safety.
We believe it's in excess of $1 million in terms of the vessels and some damage to the marina.
Detectives believe 2 men jumped a fence before a firebomb was thrown onto one of the boats. Divers were called in this afternoon to ensure no one was trapped on board the sunken vessels. Coming up, claims employees are being ripped off through the government's JobKeeper program. Also, further scrutiny for the Child Safety Department over the death of Mason Jet Li. Plus, the cheap flights that are about to take off around Queensland. And why AFL's break proved a blessing in disguise for Steph Martin.
The latest from the escalating US race riots, which show no signs of slowing down, and how Aussies stack up against other countries when it came to panic buying.
It's Gogglebox, like you've never seen before.
What the f*** is that?
And this time, it's celebrities on the couch.
Oh, that's James Brown.
My James Brown is dead.
Oh.
New Celebrity Gogglebox USA is coming to Thursdays.
Stick boredom on the bench. Footy's back. For every Thursday and Friday NRL game this round, place a head-to-head bet, and if your team wins by 6 or more, we'll double your winnings in bonus bets up to $50. Tab, long may we play.
For relief from frequent heartburn, there's an alternative to prescription medicine. New Zanzol 24-Hour. Available from your pharmacist without a prescription, Zanzol 24-Hour lets you take control of heartburn and acid reflux on your own terms. By reducing stomach acid production, it provides relief from the burning sensation in the chest that occurs when stomach acid rises up into the esophagus. So take control of your heartburn. Choose Zanzol 24-Hour today.
At Coles, you can win a virtual cooking class with Curtis Stone.
It's fabulous.
And $10,000 worth of Coles gift cards. Plus, each week there's a share of $100,000 worth of Coles gift cards to be won. Just spend $20 in one transaction at Coles, scan your Flybuys card and receive one entry into the prize draw for your chance to win a virtual cooking class with Curtis Stone. Competition ends June 30th. See coles.com.au for details. Coles, good things, great value.
Win your town's $1.69 million prize home draw. Choose Country Coastal Living in Berry on New South Wales South Coast or Magical Umundi on the Sunshine Coast. Only 400,000 tickets available at $15 each. Buy now at yourtown.com.au.
The biggest thing since joining My Budget is that we've eliminated almost all of our debt. And honestly, we have My Budget to thank for that.
Call My Budget now for your free consultation.
The Amazon mid-year sale is live now. Time to get great deals on electronics, fashion, homewares and more. Shop amazon.com.au. Easy as.
We're ready to get back out there again. As we do, it's up to all of us to stay COVID safe. Anytime you leave your house, wash your hands regularly. Keep physical distance where you can. Have the COVID Safe app on your phone. And importantly, if you're feeling sick, you need to stay at home and get tested. Together, we can reduce the risk of a second wave. Stay COVID-free and do the 3.
Authorised by the Chief Medical Officer, Canberra.
We are Regional Australia.
We are winemakers.
We are coffee roasters.
Fashion designers.
Potters. Bakers.
Shopkeepers.
We are asking for your support because the wine is pouring.
The kiln is firing. And we're open for business.
Because where you shop matters.
Discover how Visa's network connects regional businesses to customers across Australia and the world.
It's Mystery Box Bingo.
What? Worst ingredients I could think of.
It smells a little bit like garbage.
Seriously good.
This was a joy to eat.
MasterChef's Mystery Box Bingo, 7:30 tonight.
The Premier has ordered yet another examination into child safety staff over the handling of Mason Jet Lee's case. It follows the Deputy Coroner's scathing findings, which ruled the department failed the toddler in nearly every way possible. Today, Anastasia Palaszczuk announced the Public Service Commissioner will now investigate all staff involved.
But where there have been mistakes and where we can fix that up, the department must get their policies in place to ensure the protection of our most vulnerable children.
Premier Anastasia Palaszczuk must take responsibility for one of the biggest failures in the child protection history.
9 staff were disciplined, but none have been sacked. It was set up as an income safety net for Aussies during the pandemic, but JobKeeper mistakes and even rorting has seen many eligible workers go without. Today we spoke to some employees left struggling in the confusion.
They're 4 young bartenders who claim they were left out in the cold by their boss when the pandemic hit.
No income, no job. This was at a time when the lockdown was at its highest level.
They'd all worked at the Balmain Hotel for over a year and were relieved when JobKeeper was announced.
We were all eligible. We met all the criteria. We signed the papers.
They even received their first fortnightly allowance. JobKeeper is written on their pay slips, but the next week the payment was reduced and then disappeared altogether, so they contacted their boss.
He said to me, "We're taking off the JobKeeper, that's it, we're ending the payments."
I'm shocked that they could do that. It doesn't seem like that should be allowed at all under the JobKeeper scheme.
It's been really stressful because this situation's already stressful enough.
While the Balmain Hotel is back showing the love to customers, when we contacted them for comment, their response was, "No comment, sweetie."
You cannot be pulled off JobKeeper if your workplace is currently still registered with the JobKeeper program.
The United Workers Union says employees have been shortchanged in the confusion. They surveyed 550 hospitality workers. Of those eligible for JobKeeper, 70% had major roster and duty changes. 12% said their employer refused to apply on their behalf, and 15% were asked to sign documents entitling their boss to some of the money. The Australian Tax Office warns those caught rorting the system will need to repay the monies and be subject to penalties, including up to 10 years jail. While the ATO cannot discuss individual cases, these four have called its tip-off hotline.
It's been tough, you know. I've been trying to look for jobs ever since, really. I'm doing a master's degree, so I've got no income from anything, really. Ali
Donaldson for 10 News First.
There's no better time to book a trip to the Whitsundays with cheap flights to take off from Brisbane. As Claire Barnes reports, the government's in talks with airlines to get tourists returning to other regional centres.
Queenslanders may be free to travel anywhere in the state, but that doesn't mean flights are available or affordable just yet. Today, the Premier was in Airlie Beach to announce Alliance Airlines will fly 4 times a week from Brisbane to the Whitsundays. The deal kicks off from June 22nd, with fares starting from $99. Now, it's designed to restart the tourism industry, which employs 1 in 3 people in the region.
Well, this is what we do right here. The Whitsundays, a la naturel. There's no better place in the world.
In time for the school holidays, and we're encouraging everyone from the southeast corner to come up and support the Whitsundays during a tough time.
The government says it is in talks with other airlines to put on flights to more regional centres.
We're in negotiations as well with Qantas as well, so hopefully we'll see more announcements over the coming week.
It shows the need for notice for airlines to gear up to be able to service these regions, and if we want to get tourism truly flying, we need to make sure that every airline has the opportunity to fly in.
The main tourists, of course, missing out will be interstate travellers, with our borders to remain closed until at least next month.
Well, Jono's back now with another look at sport.
Thank you, Georgie. Hello again. The Broncos are set to debut youngster Corey Pakes tomorrow night against the Roosters after news hooker Jake Turpin's out with a fractured leg. Pakes is expected to play alongside fellow rookie Tessa Newey, a huge task against the 2-time defending champions.
I've got every confidence that he'll be able to do his job, but he should be confident too. He's a bit of a different kind of 9. He plays a bit like Damien Cook, kind of. Yeah, it'll be good. I'm interested to see how it goes.
In a win for the Roosters, Victor Radley was cleared by the judiciary overnight. Manly star Tom Trbojevic might be tearing up the opposition, but brother Jake doesn't think he's the best fullback in the NRL. The brothers are a deadly combination and will be out to end Parramatta's unbeaten start to the season.
What are brothers for? While Tommy burnt another team last Sunday, Jake is there to keep him grounded. He doesn't think Turbo is the best fullback in the business.
I'm going to have to say no to that one. I think... Look, you look at James Tedesco's last couple of years, coming off 2 premierships, a Dally M. He won the Wally Lewis medal last year. He's had 2 Brad Fittler medals. I think that's pretty hard to beat at the moment. So I have to give that one to Teddy.
Manly's number 1 looked flashy, but also showed grit against the Bulldogs.
He's worked really hard over the off-season, and Des has given us some things to work on, which it was great to see him paying off. But it's only early in the year. I think the best thing about the other night too was, although Tom had a great game, was that everyone really contributed.
The Seagulls scored 7 tries, but Ruben Garrick only converted 2. Still, he gets an A+ for the excuse.
He complained that there was too much sanitizer on the balls, and he wanted the ball boys to, blow dry it or something before he put on the tee. So I think he probably demoted to his red peas when it comes to his kicking licence.
On Saturday, George Tafua will be trying the impossible to silence Blake Ferguson.
He talks a lot. I'm not too sure if it's just to himself or, I don't think his teammates listen to him very much.
Jokes aside, the Seagulls respect they're up against one of the form teams.
The rivalry there is, is pretty alive, and we're up for it this week, and we can't wait to verse them. They're a quality team.
Bence Hammerley for 10 News First.
Stephen Martin has declared himself fit for the AFL's return, fully recovered from the knee injury he sustained in round 1. Having spent the last 10 weeks rehabbing the injury largely in his home while players were locked down, the likelihood of not missing a game is starting to sink in.
So I said to a few people, I'm going to get the tattoo if I don't miss a game. I'm going to get a little tattoo of it, which I won't because I'm a coward, but it's something fun to say.
Meanwhile, Lions legends Simon Black and Jonathan Brown say they're honoured to become the club's 4th and 5th players inducted into the AFL's Hall of Fame. Richly deserved there, Georgie. A couple of legends of the game.
They certainly are. Thank you, Jono. Well, coming up, Josh has the latest on the widespread cold snap gripping the state.
Want to win a year's supply of groceries thanks to Coles? Then grab tonight's code word and head to the 10play win page to enter, and you could be a winner. Plus, be watching MasterChef 7:30 tonight for the bonus code word to double your chances.
Kill bacteria that can cause sore throats fast with Betadine Sore Throat Gargle. Or treat and relieve with new Betadine Gargle and Lozenges Kit.
When life gives you messiness, Godfrey's Stocktake sale gives you cleanliness. Ecovac D-Bot 600 Robot, $299, save $100. iVac Steam Mop, $59, save $40. Godfrey's Cleanliness.
A promise is something Brighton Homes have always taken seriously. They're committed to building homes that let life in. But right now, a promise is more important than ever. Brighton promises that their homes will still embrace the best in Queensland living, with flexible deposit conditions and a price hold of up to 20 months. Plus, with a considerate cashback of up to 30 grand, you know the future is better with Brighton.
If you're experiencing abuse or domestic violence, contact 1-800-RESPECT for free, confidential advice and counselling, online and by phone 24/7. There's no place for abuse or domestic violence. Help is here. Authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra.
Geeks to you saved my life.
Actually, I just saved all these photos. This PC had a virus.
Geeks to you set up, synced up and sorted out my world.
Well, her IT world at least.
With our new improved download speed, we're streaming every night.
Is there no end to their problem-solving powers?
If there is a problem we can't fix, you don't pay.
They may be geeks to you, but they're miracle workers to me.
Call 1300-GEEKS-TO-YOU and we'll come to you.
Has your life been turned upside down by a work accident? Talk to Australia's #1 law firm. Morris Blackburn Lawyers will maximise your claim so you can get on with your life again. Call us now. It costs nothing to know where you stand.
Supporting people with a disability is very close to my heart, and now I'm asking you to help too. This year, Endeavour Foundation is celebrating 69 years of helping people with a disability live their best lives. Help by buying a ticket in their June lottery to win this brand new $1 million prize home on the Sunshine Coast. This fully furnished 4-bed, 3-bath home comes with a beautiful pool, fire pit and $10,000 cashable gold. So buy your ticket at endeavourlotteries.com.au.
At Harvey Norman, get a $948 bonus 12-month Foxtel Premium subscription when you spend $4,000 or more on a 65-inch TV from our new 2020 range. Or get a $1,188 bonus 12 months of Foxtel Platinum Plus when you spend $6,000 or more on a 75-inch TV. Foxtel, everything you need in entertainment, drama, movies and sport, live and on demand. Hurry, bonus Foxtel subscription with our 2020 TV range now at Harvey Norman.
Go, Harvey, go!
Up next, Aussies blacked out their social media in solidarity. But how helpful was it? And what can we do to be better allies? Charities are drying up as COVID-19 takes its toll just when people need them most. How to keep them afloat. And why Courtney Act is taking pride in her new role on Ramsay Street. Project next.
Well, time now for a final weather check. Josh, another cold night ahead.
Yeah, that's right, Georgie. Freezing temperatures again, especially across areas of inland Queensland where we are expecting that widespread frost once again. It's all due to a cold, dry air mass sitting across parts of Queensland currently, and now we've got a high-pressure system muscling on in, providing clear skies and light winds across those areas, allowing those temperatures to really drop. It is surging a little bit further eastwards at the moment. As that happens, the winds are tending a little bit more onshore for the Queensland coast, and as a result we could see some light shower activity as we get through tomorrow, in particular around areas of the southern coast, the Wide Bay, Capricornia and even the northeast coast as we get through Thursday. In contrast to that, of course, inland areas will remain dry, but any rainfall on that coastal fringe area is bound to be relatively light as we get through Thursday. We're not expecting much into the gauges by a long shot. Into the tropical north, mostly sunny for Cairns tomorrow, tops of 25 degrees. Townsville hitting the same mark. 23, mostly sunny for Mackay, and we should see a dry day for Rocky, hitting 24. A cool start in Roma, dropping to 2, 21 through the afternoon, and tops of 23 for Bundaberg and 22 degrees for Gympie. Into the southeast we roll. It will be a partly cloudy day, just a slight chance of a shower along that coastal fringe as mentioned. Overnight temperatures falling to between 5 and 11 degrees, with daytime temperatures reaching between 18 and 22. We're going for a top of 21 at Logan, 22 at Caboolture. A little bit further west, Toowoomba looking a little bit on the cooler side, topping out at 17 after an overnight low of 5 degrees. Moving into Brisbane City, tops of 22 degrees tomorrow after an overnight low of 11. Staying dry over the next few days, topping out at 23 from Friday through to Sunday. Overnight temperatures hovering around about that 12 degree mark. Will be a little bit cooler though. Further west for Ipswich, 6 degrees tomorrow morning, 8 degrees Friday and then back down to 6 degrees Saturday morning. Like Brisbane, staying dry over the next few days. Tops of 24 degrees through the afternoon, Saturday and Sunday. For the Gold Coast, 21 on Thursday, followed by 22 Friday and Saturday. Now, the winds will tend a little bit more onshore Sunday, Monday. Slight chance of a shower developing over those 2 days. Again, a cool start across areas of the sunny coast, dropping down to 12 degrees tomorrow morning, 21 through the afternoon. We're looking at a chance of a shower Friday, Saturday and Sunday. Starting to dry up Monday, but certainly some cooler temperatures on the way, not only across inland areas of Queensland, but even for the coast, Georgie. So the advice is pretty simple. Rug up, stay warm.
Certainly been doing that. Thank you, Josh. Well, that is 10 News First for now. For details on tonight's bulletin, make sure you head to 10play.com.au. But stay on 10. The project is next. We'll be back tomorrow at 5. Have a good night. We'll see you then.
Tonight, the US race riots show no sign of slowing down. So how can a country so divided come together?
Aussies blacked out their social media.